Hello everyone, and welcome back to Free to Pain. Today we're doing something a little different, though somewhat also similar, to the last stream we did. Last stream, we went through sort of the entire FGO app, and kind of pointed out all the features. There's a lot of them now compared to when the game started, compared to when I started with the game, and I haven't even been with it since launch. But one thing we didn't quite cover in depth was the actual in-game combat menu. And we're going to go take care of that today. I don't... we could try teaching this in the Arjuna quest here, because I would like a summon ticket. So... Oh, we have to use Arjuna. Okay, so the first thing in the combat menu, I'm just going to go to my standard array. Alright, so... This is really part of the combat menu in a way, because a lot of how your servants perform can be determined right here. Because this is where you can select all your servants coming into combat. This is where you can select your mystic code for, your master. And this is where you select the CEs, the command. Hold on. Craft Essence. I couldn't remember what Craft Essence was for a second. That's not a good sign. As I'm sure... Actually, I should say this at the very top of it all. I am going to try and go in depth as possible with everything. There is actually a surprising amount of depth involved in a lot of the actual number crunching in terms of servant performance and whether certain buffs are like multipliers or just additions. That I'm not going to be able to give you good information on. There are other channels that do that much better. But I'm going to go as in-depth as possible, and some of this most people may already know, but I want to cover everything I possibly can. So, to begin with, we have your servant roster here for the upcoming battle. You all are, in most cases, allowed 6 servants, and the only thing you are restrained for are the stuff down here by the bottom right, the total cost, which does go up as you level up. And everything you do gives you a little bit of master experience. And that's how you level that up. I think I'm at a pretty high level. I can't remember exactly what level, but... So I've got a pretty good roster here. I'm able to bring along... 2 4-stars, a 5-star, Mash, who is thankfully free and is very useful when doing team comps specifically for that reason, and Bunyan. The reason I have this particular setup at the moment is because I am farming bond levels for my servants, while still trying to do some actual combat. So the back 3 all have craft essences that are useful for farming Master XP or for farming Bond, which I'm going to quickly select Ibuki Dojis here and filter to Bond and get another Bond one on there because I don't remember what this one does. Friend points. Actually that's even a little better. A little bit more friend points. Hold on. Oh no, that's for support, so it doesn't actually matter. The first 2 servants, though, Bargast and Penthesilea, actually have things that will increase their stats. And I'm not going to go over all the different kinds of CEs because there's so many, but we're just going to look at Bargast one just to give you sort of an idea of the kind of thing you're looking for. So. Beautiful Dreamer, which was obtained, I think, from an event a while back. It is entirely attack stat, as you can sort of see here, which is always good. CEs that split their stats are usually not as great. The stats, you want to, lean into a particular direction. A CE is not usually given to someone so they can be a great all-rounder. You have a specific purpose like DPS or support, and that's why you give them a CE. For instance, this one gives increased Buster card effectiveness by 10%, which is good for Buster-based servants like Bargast and Penthesilea, and NP gained by 10% for yourself in battle with NP charged at 50%. You always want to find those 50% ones because there are a lot of support servants that can charge people up to 50%. So if you're looking for a good CE, start with the 50% charge and then see if it has other additional effects. But, and then other than the servants, the other thing that is important on this menu is the bottom left here, the Master Equip. These are your Mystic Codes, and they provide you, I'm not going to say one-time benefits, but usually you will only get to use these buffs or abilities once in a fight. You can often get them by completing quests during events, or there's some quests in your Chaldea Gate that can unlock some very basic ones that are quite foundational, quite useful, like the plug suit here, which is very much almost kind of a reference to Evangelion. Was very good, and is still very good, but it was extremely good when it first came out, or was first available, because of its third ability. Order Change is a very rare power in FGO. I think there's maybe less than half a dozen servants who have the ability, and some of them aren't just switching. Some of them are just retreating, and then you can only get the servant you want switching in if you've positioned your party correctly. I think Miss Crane does that on her NP. She hex off to the back. And then there's, I think, Chen Gong, who sacrifices a servant on command if you use I think it's his NP. The reason why switching out servants is so valuable is because you may want to stack buffs, so you may want to get rid of a support unit on their front rank who has used all their abilities already, but usually you can't just have them leave. So you need things like the ability from the plug suit or servant's ability to switch them off. This one also has a general attack buff and a stun, which is quite useful. Now it should be noted that Mystic Codes level up as you use them, and the effects from them will increase, usually if they're like damage buffs or something, as the skills level up, and most importantly, the cooldown goes down, which is always very useful and might actually be the difference between you using an ability once or twice in a fight. God to help you if you need to use it like 3 times, so that's quite something. I've collected quite a lot at this point, some of which less useful than others. Some of them quite useful, like the plug suit. Alright, well I think that's everything sort of in the pre-combat phase, without going into specific kind of servant loadouts and stuff. So I'm just going to hit start quest on this. Oh, by the way, the thing down here, sort of the little teapot, that is a new feature that increases, I think, either just Bond or Master XP and Mystic Code XP as you go on. I can't remember. Hold on. We'll hit the question mark, see if it actually tells us. No, it doesn't. So, but keep in mind that the teapots are finite uses. They will be used up, I think, 1 for every day you're using them, or possibly more, so keep an eye on them. If you're going to be doing a lot of heavy farming in a single day, that's when you want to use them. They're not for everyday use. Alright, well, let's get this started. Now, I have no idea what we're going to be facing in here, so I may have to adjust my tutorials. You know what? I'm just going to skip this. I know Karna and Arjuna's story. I know what's going to be happening here, sort of. Coffee. Loading. Hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Those of us in Canada are enjoying a long weekend, the start of. Oh, look at that background. That's pretty cool. Alright, so here we are, the combat menu. The first thing that's going to hit you is we have our first row of servants, the first three. They all have their skills available. Over time, you will get kind of familiarity with some of the symbols, like this little sword with the up is usually like a party up attack thing. The green symbol there with the flexing person usually implies debuff immunity, though it may have other effects. If you ever want to refresh yourself on what a particular effect does, rather than just press it, you can hold it down, and it'll pop up. So this is one of Penthesilia's skills. Shows you the level, it shows you how long it buffs the party or themselves, and it shows you the cooldown. You can exit or you can confirm. We're just going to confirm this one. And then I go to the second one. Golden rule. Apply debuff immunity, which means debuffs can't be applied. Pretty simple. And increases NP gauge each turn. Buffs like that always will happen at the end of the turn. So she gets a plus 20% increase to her NP at the end of every turn while this is active. So in 3 turns, she will get plus 60 to her MP. Now this one, this golden circly thing here, I'm pretty sure this will increase, increase CSAR drop rate, which I will explain. This symbol in the middle here, the kind of golden looking sword, is always a nice symbol to see, because that's usually about charging your NP, or at least increasing your NP charge rate. Let's take a look. Increase NP charge. Oh, and this restores, this one increases NP gauge and restores HP per turn. 5 turns. That's pretty nice. And gain C stars per turn. 5 turns for yourself. That's pretty cool. 11 cooldown though, so that's pretty steep. We're gonna do that. I'm just gonna do Vargas's. Damage cut for the whole party, and she gets a apply a state that increases NP gauge for all allies each turn. So she is going to give everyone Penth's buff, essentially, though probably not to the extent, especially since I haven't leveled it. And this one, oh boy, increases her Buster card effectiveness and applies a Strong Eater state that restores HP for yourself during normal attacks, plus removes 1 buff of a single enemy, and when successfully removed, decreased defense of a single enemy. Vargas is an interesting servant because she starts to really thrive on her own, facing enemies that like to buff themselves. She's just a sustain fighter, but I'm not going to bother doing that one right now. So those are skills. Skills can vary from complex to very simple. You notice like Penthesilias are pretty straightforward compared to Barghists, which have a bit more nuance to them. Penth is not a year 1 servant. She came out with Epic of Remnant, but there is a bit of a gap, and she has never received a like skill up quest, so it's kind of sad. She could use one. Some sort of defensive skill would be nice. Penth is a absolute glass cannon. But that's the skills, and the little things beneath the skills, just their HP and the NP charge, that's pretty obvious. I don't think I really have to explain that. Next is probably the biggest thing, the attack menu. Press it. Now, every servant comes to a fight with 5 cards, essentially, and they all get pulled together, producing a deck of 15 cards. And every turn, 5 cards are randomly drawn from that deck. We've drawn 3 of Arjuna's here, which is pretty nice. Now, I'm just going to, just in terms of the different card types, I have a thing I want to read here. So, we don't have any on the screen right now, but quick attacks are the green cards. Quick attacks do 80% of your servant's possible damage, and add a small amount of your Noble Phantasm gauge. So, they charge, and they do a little bit of damage. In addition, they gain a lot of critical stars, a resource collected during attacks that increases your likelihood of getting a critical hit. That should be noted, just because that may not be clear. You don't, unless you have a CE or an ability you can trigger, you don't start with any critical stars, and any critical stars you generate in the first turn don't do anything for this turn. They'll be gathered for next turn. Buster cards, which are the red ones, do 150% of your servant's possible damage and add nothing to the Noble Phantasm gauge. Outside of special abilities, or something we're to discuss later, Buster doesn't charge your NP. It's just unga bunga damage. Arts attacks, which are the blue cards, do 100% of your servant's possible damage and add a lot of the Noble Phantasm gauge. So basically, Buster cards do the most damage, but add no charge, and I'm not even sure if they add any stars. Arts cards do the second most amount of damage and charge your NP the most out of all the card types. Quick attacks do the less damage, but they generate the most C stars or critical stars, and they do generate a little bit of an MP charge. So, now, we have a neat opportunity here because we have three of the same color. We have 3 Buster cards here. And when you have 3 of the same color cards, you can make what's called a chain. And Buster chains, or pardon me, Brave chains are when you use an Arts, a Buster, and an attack all in the same chain. So you're using one of each color. Doing this will create a 4th attack. Oh, pardon me. Brave chains are when you use 3 cards of any color from the same servant. When you do that, it creates a 4th extra card. So if you manage to get all of a servant's cards all together, you get 4 attacks. So we could do that with Arjuna this turn, but for reasons I'm going to explain, that's not the best idea right now. Now, in regards to the single color chains, Arts chains refer to using 3 Arts attacks in a row. This will make all servants who have cards in the chain gain immediate 20% of their NP gauge. This is useful for, generating NP on top of any skills. Quick chain refers to using 3 quick attacks in a row. This will gain you an additional 10 critical stars. So if you want to set up a crit for next turn, use a bunch of green cards, which we have none. And Buster chains refer to using 3 Buster attacks in a row. This will give you an additional 20% boost to damage to all servants included in the chain whilst it's active. And it should be noted that the order in which you do cards matters a little bit. If you put a Buster card first, subsequent cards will gain a little bit of damage. If you put an Arts card first, subsequent cards will gain a little bit of NP charge, even Buster cards, which usually don't generate any. And if you put a quick card first, the others will generate a little bit of critical stars. And the order in which a card goes also determines just, I think, the damage it does. Like the first card, while it sets the tone for the rest of the cards, does do the least amount of damage, while the last card will do the most amount of damage. So if you really, really want to do damage, but you only have 1 Buster card, put the Buster card last. I'm going to demonstrate what we're going to do in this particular situation because we just want to clear this wave. We've got 2 NP charging skills active right now from Barghest and Penth, so we don't really need to worry about NP charge. This is 3 waves. Now, while we could, it's always nice to try and get a Brave chain because that gets you 4 attacks. An important thing to note is that a servant will always attack the same target if they have multiple cards in a row. I'm just going to demonstrate this. So we have all this damage for Arjuna because we have 3 of his cards, and if we put them all together, we'll get 4. So we're going to target, doesn't really matter, the back ghost. We're going to put the Buster card first, so it increases the damage of all subsequent cards, and then just 2 art cards. He's already killed it. Here's the extra card. Now you notice that despite all the attacks we got and all the damage we did, it only killed 1 guy. Because a servant, if their attacks are chained together in order, or if they have like 1 card after another, they will keep attacking an enemy even after it's dead. They cannot switch targets in the middle of a chain. A single servant can't. But I'll now show you what happens when you switch up the cards, where you stagger them. We don't have a Brave chain anymore. Or, actually, pardon me, we don't have a Buster chain anymore, and I don't want to use an quick chain. But we're going to start with Penth. Doing this card, and then we go to Barghest, and then go back to Penth. So Penth killed that one. Barghest now switches to the next one, and then, now that we're on a new target, Penth follows up. It can be very important to remember that, because sometimes there might be like one of the enemies has like an NP charged and ready to go, or two of them, you need to take both of them out at the same time. You need to make sure that you are not just pouring all your attacks onto one guy. That might be a waste. That being said, it should be noted that in certain circumstances you may want to continue attacking a dead guy with a Brave chain, because arts cards and I think quick cards, if they are attacking someone who's already dead, will still gain charge. So if you really want to charge your NP, attacking someone who's already dead counts as overkill, and I think that even increases the charge you're getting. You're still maybe not killing other guys, but there might be circumstances where that's important. Alright, so we'll just clear this next wave. So we're going to stagger these again. This is just a minor thing to me. If you start with the Buster card, but then are having to stagger to a different card type, I always like to start the Buster on the slightly stronger enemy. And because we staggered, it's all done. Though unfortunately we are now without some of our buffs because we didn't get to the third wave in time. Now, before we get to this, there is a couple other things I wanted to mention while we're in the combat menu. So, you may notice there are some symbols sitting above some of these cards that are little pictures. Those are the command cards. Oh, welcome to the chat. We are winning. We are winning. We're winning with knowledge and education today. Those are the command codes, which you can individually attach to cards that your servants have in their deck. Those provide special little abilities, like the little one you can see in the middle there, this one. Barghest has like a little Tamamo Fox there. I think that increases her self-healing. Penth has tiny little Gilgamesh sitting above one of hers. That is a increase to damage, I believe. Possibly to divine, I can't recall. And there's a little spooky-looking purple grail sitting above the other Barghest one, and I believe that will cleanse a debuff. Some of these can be important in terms of the order. Penthesilea has one that if she hits with it first, it will increase her NP damage for that turn. So, important to notice when that one comes up. And certain command codes also have cooldowns. The symbol will be grayed out if they have a cooldown. There are so many command codes. There are so many command codes. And honestly, not a lot of them are terribly good. They're just some of them are very specific and can be useful, but in general, there's like maybe a dozen that are actually quite all-around useful. And the thing is, unless you really want to switch them around, they are going to be stuck on a single servant for a while. It can get expensive to try peeling them off and attaching them to other servants. So, trying to think if I can do a little trick here. Now, if I wanted to do something where you can break up a Brave chain with a Noble Phantasm. Like if you kill someone with just a Buster card, put your Noble Phantasm in the second spot, it will then move on to the next alive one. And it should be noted, that when the computer has to target a enemy on their own, it will always default to the one at the closest to you, like this ancient ghost with the gold icon. If I kill the terror ghost with an NP, when we exit the NP animation, the ancient ghost in the front will be the first one it targets afterwards. So where you put your NP in the chain can be relevant. Also, for certain servants, like Arash, they kill themselves with their NP. So if you really want to get the most out of them, put that one last. I'm trying to think. One other thing important is, and this is not, I don't know if the game actually ever really explains this to you, is the command codes, command spells. So up in the top right-hand corner, you got your portrait there showing which mystic code you're wearing and your little rank symbol. You have the command spells next to it. Click on that. Because I have full 3 command spells, it shows me all the things I can do with them. There are 3 abilities you can use with command spells, though only one of them is available if you have failed in the mission and all your servants are gone. One command spell you can immediately cast to increase Noble Phantasm up to 100% immediately. You can completely heal a servant's HP with one command spell, but the big one, and this is the one most people save command spells for, is a full revive of your party member. So if your entire party gets wiped out, all 6 servants, it will give you the option to use all 3 command spells to bring everyone back to life and fully charge their NPs. Their skills won't be active now, but they'll all be off cooldown, so you can cast all your big buffs again. This is pretty huge and has been the key to victory many times. Yes, best used for story bosses, very true. As the game goes on, if you become sick in the head like me and get poisoned by pride, you will go to extreme lengths to avoid using the command spell revive, even though it is a game mechanic and the game lets you do it. But I am sick in the head and I feel I gotta do it without the command spells. The command spells are a crutch. No, don't think like that. You'll hurt yourself. It should be noted that command spells... Oh god, yeah. The Kurnos fight... Oh boy, that was rough. That was rough. I'm getting less hard about it on myself these days. I'm still very proud that I managed to down Zeus without using them, thanks to Penthesilea. She killed her grandfather. It was great. It should be noted the command spells are finite. Once you use 3 of them, they are gone until the server kind of reset every day. So, like some point in the evening, you'll get 1 command spell back every day until you have 3 again. You can't bank command spells for later, sadly. You only ever build up to 3. But they do regenerate, so... And in a pinch, you can do another full revive for a Saint Quartz. I do not recommend this. Saint Quartz can be hard to get. They're so precious. Just wait a few days, try again. Or keep trying without using the command spells. Later on, we also get these things that are called, like, continue cubes or something. Those are pretty rare. They don't give them out very often, and I think they actually have a finite lifespan. They go away after a while. So, oh, and of course, there is below the battle menu, which you'll almost never touch unless you have to leave for some reason, or if you realize you put the wrong servants on and you just want to quit the battle immediately. It's just got withdrawal. You can check items drop in the volume level. You can also push on the button for confirming your skills if you're still learning them. And below that is another important one, the master skills. This is where the skills from your mystic code are. You can hold down on them to get them to come up, and it'll show you the cooldown, the level, and basically what it does. The game doesn't give you like percentages or pluses. You have to look that up elsewhere, but like, I'm going to buff the attack. And if I want, I could switch someone. So that's where those skills are. Those can be important. It's good to use them when you can. They can be very helpful. I also just noticed that all the ghosts are a different color. That's adorable. So, we're going to give Penth her big Buster buff back. We are going to just finish this off. So we're going to whack this ghost, break the chain with Noble Phantasm, and then let Barghest finish off the second one. Coffee. There is a way to get Penthesilea much more calm during that animation. Oof. I don't think the game liked me sitting on that very animated background for too long. Oh, I got a bond level up for Barghest, which at this level doesn't get me any Saint Quartz, but Servant Coin, which is nice, and a new voice line. I might. Plus, it's one of these days that... Well, thank you for that. If I don't get to it on stream, I will send you an invite after I go off. So, we're just going to continue this because I do want the ticket. Precious tickets. Alright. See if I can demonstrate any other techniques. Yeah, I'm almost certainly probably have room on my friends list. It's probably time I do another purge of people who haven't been active for like 2 years or something. Or people who just haven't bothered to upgrade their accounts that much. I like Barghest's first ascension in the combat sprite. It looks like she's wearing a battleship. I love that. Plus the blue and orange is really cool. Alright, we are going to clear this row in one turn by using the staggered method. The old machine is lagging a bit today. I'm also facing a bit of a conundrum now. I was really impressed with Fate Samurai Remnant's latest DLC, where they made, I think, the rest of the original game servants playable. You can like play as Rider now, you can play as Assassin, and they also added Ruler Ibuki Doji, which is pretty sweet. And I was tempted to get back into the game and stream a bit more of it, but now I kind of almost want to wait until they bring out the other 2 DLC, because if they introduce some really cool servants that I could play a bunch of the game with, I kind of want to wait, but I'm going to have to think about that. Alright, Penth is here, so we're going to buff some Penth's damage. Oh look, see this one with the Da Vinci? That is the Noble Phantasm damage increasing one. So we're going to put that one first. Oh, I can also demonstrate here, we can do a Brave Chain for Penthesilea, but because we use a Noble Phantasm in the middle, we'll be able to clear these 2 characters here, because she'll just be able to switch once the first target is dead. Huzzah! Yeah, sadly we're not getting any. I should really change off of the plug suit for the Mystic Code because I am not getting any more XP on that. It took me a long time, but I did level it to 10. So it is the best as it can get. Some Mystic Codes are easy to level. Some are very hard. You just have to sort of pay attention. Also, the best way... Oh, we have a Karna one, too, of course. Actually, you know, let's quickly just check. We got that ticket. If there's anything we can throw one ticket at. For shits and giggles. Oh, goody. We got the CCC banner. I could throw one at Passion Lip just for fun. Or a second copy of Meltrolus wouldn't be bad, but... Checking what else we got here. Oh, is that it? Oh, do a free 10. Want those chance for get those Habitrots. I've never actually used Passion Lip, I think, outside of like forced story stuff, so I don't even know her skill set. I know a lot of people are very disappointed that she has gotten a swimsuit variant, which, just the logistics, I'm very curious. Would they turn her giant hands into like pool noodles? Like pool noodle hands? I don't know. But we're going to throw one ticket at this. See what happens. Yeah. Yeah. Sakura's special bento continues to mock me. But anyway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover about the combat. Oh, I did want to demonstrate looping. Because as the game goes on and you do more events and you need to farm for materials to level up your servants, doing the little quests for materials and farming nodes in events to get drops and level up points values becomes important. And it becomes a little tedious at times, and you want to streamline that process as much as possible. And that is where looping comes into play. And what I mean by looping is being able to fire off an NP 3 turns in a row after doing a whole bunch of skill stuff on the first turn, and not having to switch around servants, not have to do any sort of additional skills. It's just dump a whole bunch of stuff first turn, and then just hit the NP button every turn. How this happens is there are servant setups you can do that will increase the power of a servant. Specifically in this in case, we're talking about arts looping, because arts is the one that gives the most NP charge back. And if you buff someone's art damage and their NP game damage enough, they can clear a wave and get enough return from that to get their thing charged fully again. And I'm going to demonstrate this. And we're going to make this easy. We're going to go to the treasure vault. And we are going to... Now, the key to arts looping for a lot of people, there are other ways to do it, but this is the main way to do it, is Castoria, because you need 2 Castorias. And it remembers what I like to do with Castoria, so it brought me to the proper setup. So, you have a servant in the front row with something that boosts NP damage. Specifically, I'm using Black Grail with Da Vinci here. Black Grail is possibly, I think, the best looping CE, even when it's not fully max limit broken, because it just increases your NP strength by so much. It does have a demerit that you lose 500 health of return, but if you're doing this properly, that's only going to be 3 turns, so that's only 1,500 health. Not a problem. And then the other important thing is to have 2 Castorias, and almost certainly you have to have all their skills leveled. Beyond that, you just put anyone in the party you want who, I can't remember why Martha's in here. Oh, I know why, because I was trying to get her a bond level so I can unlock an interlude or something. So we'll leave her there for now. And then just, the back servants don't really matter, just put whoever you want to level their bond level. That's why Penthesilea's in there, because... yeah, Paracelsus is another good art servant. It also is important, like if you're looking for an alternative, you need to be able to charge them by 50%. So the servant in question needs to have a 50% charge, or this other support servant does. Yeah, Tamamo is good because she's got a great arts buff. Waver can buff someone by 50% and increases their attack. I mean, if you're... maybe Oberon? I don't know. I don't think Oberon's skills work that well for arts. He's got a NP buff up and a charge skill, but yeah, don't listen to me about Oberon. Penthesilia, sadly, is still 1,139,899 away from bond level 15. Admittedly, bond level 15 is the highest bond level I think you can currently get, and this has taken literal years of putting Penthesilia in practically almost every party I've been in. She is my favorite because she was one of my first servants I got that was easy for me to use. Though I had to get an Epic of Remnant to level her skills. Oh boy. But, alright, so you got your 2 Castoreas with fully leveled skills. You got a servant who has a AoE Arts NP. That's important. Because you're going to be farming, you have to take entire waves out. They have to have a skill that increases their arts return, and a self-charging skill also really helps. Alright, and just in case, because I can't remember, I used to do a lot more arts farming before I got my Buster farming set up, and I can't remember, it might have been Space Ishtar I used, but I also now have Da Vinci Rider, and she's proving useful. But just in case, I'm going to grab this one that has CE damage and charge. Alright. Now this is one of the daily quests that's always available. The Embers quests and the Skill Materials quests, those switch out every day. There's a schedule you can find that'll tell you which days you can farm certain stuff, but the door quests that are just money are always here. So, we start NP charge every turn, and then we do all the Castoria stuff. Now, Rider Da Vinci is especially useful here because she is a rider and already has class advantage over the caster doors. So, we've given her all her stuff. I don't use the 3rd skill on the first wave because it also provides a little charge, and you may need to fill up her bar a little bit in subsequent turns. I'll demonstrate if we need to do that. But yeah, then you just hit her NP, preferably other arts cards too, but it doesn't super matter. Now you notice it says overkill there. That's actually important. Now, we didn't actually get a full refund there, but Da Vinci's NP every turn assisted with that. Now, why I said overkill is important, because it's not difficult to just kill the mobs. None of them have more than 50,000 health. But once you deal their maximum health damage, it starts to go into overkill, and overkill is where you get really increased returns for arts card. You get more charge then. So the more overkill damage you can do, the more charge you get, which actually leads into a bit of a weakness of arts, because arts needs that overkill. And if you have 3 enemies on the field, that's triple the overkill you'd get from a single one, and that's often necessary. arts looping can struggle against irregular nodes, what they're called, where like the first wave only has one giant monster with a lot of health. That's going to disrupt your arts farming because not only will you maybe struggle to do enough damage, because it is an AoE Noble Phantasm. AoEs don't do a lot of damage, but they spread it out to everyone. And if it's one big mob with a lot of health, you are likely going to be able to overcome them, but the overkill will not be sufficient to fully charge your NP. And the Castorias don't have enough skills, and that might work. You might use Da Vinci's third skill to boost her NP, but that's only at max maybe a 20% charge, maybe only a 10. And if if there's a second irregular wave, like maybe 2 guys or 1, you're going to have the same problem. And the whole point of looping is so you don't have to use like the plug sloot to switch people in to up the charge. You want to do all your skills in the first turn and then turn your brain off. Thankfully, this quest, the doors quests up until this most hardest node are all just 3-wave things. It's very easy. I'll show you what I mean on this next one. Though, I'm going to do a little thing here where I'm going to buff MP damage here, just to try and make sure I get that overkill. Delightful. There we go. And with enough, we got another full charge. Now this last wave is a little different because we've got one big mob here. Blessed Golden Statue. So for here, we are going to use Da Vinci's third skill. At least it does increase our NP damage a little bit. And thankfully, we have more of Da Vinci's arts cards here. And it should be noted, one of the reasons you're trying to get this done in 3 turns is not only for speed, because you're probably farming and you want to get this done quickly, it's because all the big arts buffs that Castoria gives you are going to end after the 3rd turn. They only last 3 turns, and your effectiveness is going to drop off heavily, because, as you recall, arts only does like the second amount of the most damage out of the card types. Buster does the most, arts only is in 2nd place. So without all the buffs from Castoria, the arts damage does go down quite a bit, especially for a arts NP, which, as mentioned, they don't do the most damage. They spread them out so you can get everyone at once, but you're not going to be taking down any story bosses with an arts NP that's not charged and buffed up the wazoo. So, need to keep it tight, need to keep it to 3 turns, or your effectiveness will drop off quickly. So we're just gonna let, hopefully this will still work. Nope. Yeah, the game's chugging a little bit. Oh, there we go. We managed to get through. And I don't even have Da Vinci skills leveled. I should go do that. Alright. I'm going to mention that quick farming used to be actually the more prevalent one, because there was a lot more quick support back in the day. Like Double Scotty was the old Double Castoria. Before there was Double Castoria, there was Double Scotty. She was the first support that not only included a single color buff of a big numbers. She had a big quick buff skill. She also had a built-in targetable 50% charge. So with 2 Scotties and a character who you started at like 50% or at 100%, if you had a max K-scope, you could farm. Arts gives more return, quick gives a little bit, And there were certain quick characters, like the Count of Monte Cristo, who had excellent NP gain skills that would supplement quick not having as much return as arts. Then Castoria came along, and arts farming became a big thing. And then finally, though this has been in JP for a while, just in the last year here in NA, we've gotten the Buster farming meta, which doesn't rely on overkill. It relies on cooldown manipulation and has slightly different kind of needs, though the necessary thing for that is essentially 2 coin Skyas and one other servant with a 50% battery. For a better idea of how that works, I do have a video, the coin Skya system. I think it's pinned in my channel. I would recommend going to look at that. I don't want to... There's a lot more nuance to it than there is for arts, and I don't want to bother explaining it here. Because today was just supposed to be about combat. And with that... Ooh, lovely 3 million right there. With that, I think... Yeah, we're almost at an hour here, and I didn't want this to go on too long. I think I've covered all the fundamentals of the combat menu without going into specific like servant strategies and the like, which I think are a little more fun to figure out as you go on. At some point I should also, the app tutorial I did, if anyone needs to go reference that, I think that I should post a link. I have it up on YouTube somewhere, so that will be there, and this will be up on YouTube too, because it's not going to stay on the channel forever probably. But yeah, in terms of future FGO content, I'm not sure how much farming is involved in the White Day event that's coming up in like a week or less. Might be some farming there. I'm going to try and maybe get the challenge quest done. I kind of slacked off too long on the Valentine's Day event and had to like really farm up until like maybe the last day, and then I didn't get a chance to do or even stream the challenge quest, but I'm going to try and do better for the White Day event. But after that, the next big roles I think we're going to be doing is probably going to be Super Bunyan, I think. She's not the most meta servant in a way, but I really like her. I like Bunyan. I think she's adorable, and I like giant things stepping on people. It's funny. It reminds me of the giant foot from Monty Python. But yeah. So thank you all for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful. And until next time, everyone, may all your hits be crits and all your rolls be golden. And I'm going to go check out that friend code situation. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.